Morning, everyone. Might seem a little bit more tired than usual, a little bit more tired because my coffee machine's broken. Last night, about 11 o'clock, I heard this like hissing noise. That's my puppy. Hey, Bucko. Hey, Bucko. Hey. I heard this hissing noise at like 11 o'clock. It's like this coming out of my coffee machine. There's like steam going everywhere. Is it happening now? No. And steam going everywhere, and I turned it off. So like, yeah. Anyway, so no coffee this morning, which means I might not be thinking as sharply. That's what I normally am, but that's okay. Welcome to Mitch Reads the Bible, MRTB. We're in Mark 2, verse 23. One Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and as his disciples were walking along, they began to pick some heads of grain. Now, I don't know, what does grain taste like when it hasn't been milled? Like, can you just eat it? Or does it taste all woody or sticky or grassy or something? I don't know. To be honest, I'm picturing like cartoon heads of grain, because I can't even picture what real heads of grain look like. Are they fluffy? Leave a comment about what real heads of grain are like, and whether you can eat them just straight off the stick, straight off the plant. The Pharisees said to him, "Look, why are they doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" He answered, "Have you never heard what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need? In the days of Abiathar, the high priest, he entered the house of God and ate the consecrated bread, which is lawful only for priests to eat. He also gave some to his companions. Then he said to them, 'The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath.'" You know what the Sabbath is, right? In Jewish tradition, in Jewish religion, on the seventh day, everybody rests, and they rest good and proper. They don't do any work, like anything that might even be understood to be kind of work, they don't do, which is why the Pharisees are so upset. Like, they're picking grain, which is kind of like work, and you're not supposed to work on the Sabbath. But it's like everyone in your household rests, like the parents, the kids, the grandparents. Like if you had slaves, a lot of people had slaves back then. Jewish people had to treat their slaves pretty good anyway, but on this day you couldn't make your slaves work. Like, they had to have like a proper rest, and they didn't have to do anything. So like literally everyone in your household is resting. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, a rabbi who I used to read a fair bit of, he died a couple of years ago actually, sadly, but he used to say this, it's actually a wonderful and marvelous tradition. Everybody gets a rest. In the Exodus narrative, when God is giving the 10 commandments, and the Sabbath, like keep the Sabbath as one of the 10 commandments. So it's in there with like do not murder and do not steal and do not commit adultery and stuff. In that, the reason it gives for observing the Sabbath, it says, because you know what it was like to be slaves in Egypt. So it says, you know what it's like to be worked every single day. And you know the Egypt story where they're told like to make more bricks, and then they like have to get more materials to make their bricks, and it's just like they back-breaking labor every single day with no rest. And God says, you know exactly what it's like to have no rest. So in our religion, we are going to have rest baked into it, and you are going to have to obey and listen to me when I say that you take one day of rest. So it's actually like a beautiful tradition. And some people here think that Jesus is completely overturning that, going, "Oh, the Sabbath is made for man and not man for the Sabbath. Like, you don't have to follow the Sabbath anymore." But I actually don't think this is what Jesus is saying. He says the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. Maybe you could translate it by saying, like, too much focus or too much importance placed on that kind of practice of religion is bad. But the thing itself is very, very good. It was made for you. It was a gift for you. It was so that you would flourish. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is made for man. It's made for you. You need rest. You need time. You need to take a break. You need to gather your thoughts. You need to do nothing sometimes. And that's a message to you, my friends at school. You know, you can fill your life with so many different things, so many activities. but you should bake some rest into it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's made for you. It's rest. You need rest. Yeah. That's all I got this morning. Okay. See ya.